All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Eric here. We're just going to go through and see what the flow has to say about what's coming up today. We do have AVGO, which is Broadcom, and we also have Lululemon coming up today. I did a little bit of a breakdown in my channel that's shared to all of you guys. It's also in the earnings case studies. I would say for Broadcom, it's hard to beat. It's hard to bet against Broadcom, but I will say that it is pretty high up. This is the 4-hour chart. It's bounced around up here. Earnings could be what pushes it up higher. You should expect that with earnings. They're probably going to beat. That's just been the trend with them. Could this be, right? Three green candles all higher in this situation could be a bullish run up. We're also seeing that in the flow. I'd say it looks a little bit mixed. If you filter just for buys, this put here kind of concerns me, but that's for November. You got a January call for 360 as well. So a little bit mixed, a little bit hard to say what exactly. I will point out that if you take a look at the premiums for this, I mean, I'm not gonna put $800 on an earnings play right here. If you do want earnings play, I'll give you this. Go under. I'll teach you guys how to look for it first off. If today's Thursday and you're looking for tomorrow, these are the 0 days to expiration. First off, take a look at the implied volatility across the board. So IV is at 130%, 130%. So yes, while it means you could double your money pretty quick if it goes the right way, you also have only 1 day to get out of it. So that's going to be the risk if you are going to play some sort of, high IV type of thing like this. On the other hand, though, if you look for open interest and volume, that's what we're looking here. Volume and open interest, volume, open interest. Look for where the big spikes are. So if I'm bullish on this, right, this 9,000 right here, 5,000, that's a decent amount right here. So 320, what, 315 is the mid right now. So that would be, but keep in mind, this has got to move 14 bucks up there, right? And I can also go check. There is to break even point, $5 or 5%, 5.37%. So, in the money probability is at 30% right now. Now, if I'm buying this at $3.15 at 320, that means I need to make it. It needs to hit 323.15 in order for me to be confident in the positive, if that makes sense. Okay, so take what you're buying the contract at, add it to the strike price. That's technically what you need price to be at over tomorrow by close for this to be a profitable position. Now it could definitely shoot up toward, let's say, shoot up to 315. These contracts might go up in price. It might be a little tough to get out, but that's why you're looking at the higher volume, higher open interest situation. But again, this one is definitely a gamble. Am I willing to spend $300 on that position? I'm not going to look at that one. I'm not getting into it. If I'm looking on the bearish side of things, open interest and volume, 275 is kind of a big move to the downside. But that's where you see a little bit more. You could say 290 as well. $200, 286 bucks for that one, 66 cents for that one. But that one, again, there's a reason why they're so cheap. There's a reason why it's considered an earnings gamble. So at least that's what I would say when it comes down to these. I'm gonna type these out in my channel real quick. Hold up. The other one I would also point out is if you do look at the next week ones, these have a little bit more safety, but you also notice that open interest and all that is a bit lower on these. So like the 320 here is, you're going to be paying another $200 on that. It has a little bit more safety to it, but and IV is a bit lower, so 58% on that one. If I look back down on the other side, the 275, again, a little bit more expensive, but that's to give you some more time, give you 7 more days in that situation. So at least that's what I do when I look for earnings situations, earnings gambles. You want to look for high open interest, high volume, at least relative to everything else. Try not to buy just the next day. Like, obviously, if it works out for you and it shoots up like crazy, yeah, you could see those in the money and you could make quite a bit of return on them. But usually they are pretty much priced to reflect that as well. So IV in this, 130% for everything next to the, near the money. Same with the put side of it. So that's what I would be careful with on your end, okay? For Lululemon, IV is still pretty juiced. This is 0 days to expiration. This expires tomorrow. $315 would maybe. Oh, hold on. This didn't change. I hate it when it does that. There we go. Implied. There we go. IV. Nearly 300% on both sides of this. So that does mean that this could double or triple. But at the end of the day, are you willing to take that risk? Because it could go to 0 just as easily. Higher IV or higher OI and higher volume, I would say 210, but that's about $1,000 per contract for the calls. Higher in terms of the puts, 185, maybe 190, $500 to $500 per contract. And that's just for tomorrow. That's straight up, again, that's straight up a gamble. The one that Max was shouting out was this one, 165. Was it 165? Let me double check. Oh, sorry, that's the call side. There we go. 165. Volume is decent. OI is all right. I'm expecting that to turn over into it. $130 for that. That's not a terrible consideration. 180 on this one's definitely got a little bit more. But I would definitely say if this volume turns into open interest tomorrow, that would actually be one of the higher strikes for it. I've had this charted out for you guys. Ooh, looks like American Airlines keeps dropping. Is this a bear flag? Is this a bear flag? That's a very good possibility. On the big picture too, I do think Lululemon's going through distribution. It's already played out the chart. You guys can see the similarities there. Buying climax, automatic reaction creates the range. We've had our last points of supply. We've broken down below. We've seen this sign of weakness breaking out of the range that we originally have established from before. So we are down below it. The only thing I will say is I don't think we've seen a full complete sell-off yet. Usually what you're looking for is capitulation, which means that price is going to go in one direction extremely heavily, and then we'll see a big volume spike. That could be this earnings. It could be next earnings. Okay, so it could be, next quarter we might see this. Let me draw it out. Recover a little bit. Recover a little bit after earnings, and then we see the drop down below. That's always a possibility. So my prediction from last earnings already has played out. So right now, again, is the question that we're going to continue because we see additional selling off. We see additional tariff issues. We see consumers being pressed and not able to necessarily spend money on such a, this is considered a little bit more of a higher priced item. I was talking to some people. I mean, a pair of Lululemon leggings is like $100, and they had issues with Costco trying to duplicate them as well. And that was a situation where you saw a lot of people gravitate toward the Costco version because you can get those for like $20. So, I want you guys to tell me, Those of you that are watching, I am recording this for YouTube as well, so if you're watching on YouTube, let me know after the fact what ended up happening. But for you guys in my live stream right now, what do you guys think? You think Lululemon is going to recover? You think it's going to head up further? I've got a little extra tool I want to share with you guys. I love this page. This is FinViz, Financial Visualizations, finviz.com, and go plug in the ticker up here, Lululemon. And first off, it'll give you the chart and it'll give you a very basic technical analysis. So right now you see that it's within this falling wedge kind of thing. Right here you'll see 3 simple moving averages. Right now we're below the 50-day. We are right around the 20-day. I think we're bouncing off of it just a little bit, but we're still below the 50-day moving average. And we are well below the 200-day moving average at this point. You'll see the upgrades and downgrades overall. So right now everything's downgraded most recently, especially after the last earnings. And then you'll see all the recent news. Now what I also love right on this right side is you can see all the current Twitter, the tweets that are happening for it. So you'll see there's a lot of people saying, you know, Lululemon retail sucks right now. Somebody says it's going to go up to 230. These pants are going to get shit tonight. We've got implied 9 to 12% gain or drop after today's earnings. So again, there's good movement possibility. Yeah. Does it pump or dump in 30 minutes? Huh? That's what we're waiting on. So what do you guys think? Lululemon bullish or bearish? I would like to see it bearish so it plays out my thesis. I'll consider a little bit closer to the bell if I'm going to just get into one of those 165 puts or not. Don't be shy, guys. Go ahead and comment in the live stream. Jeez, we're a community. Make it known that you're here at least. So yeah, the 165 puts are these ones right here. 750 in terms of the volume today. It was at 200. It's jumped up just a little bit. This one's interesting too. This is a 0 days to expiration. They're spending $775,000 on that one. Details $700 per contract. So that's the thing though, right? That shows quite a bit of, you know, that's a bullish aggressive sentiment right there. Yeah, I would say yeah, Soba, it is kind of mixed. But hey, you've got some profits from American Eagle, right? No, don't get into it unless you have a good thesis. I would say the mixed sentiment I also want to point out is while my chart does say bearish on the long run, that does not equate to what is going to happen with earnings right now. On the other side of it, that kind of is tough to understand is you also just saw Kramer announced that he's bearish on Lululemon. And so Kramer, a lot of people believe that he uses the public as liquidity. So at the end of the day, that could be more of a bullish signal saying that Lululemon could be recovering after this earnings. Premiums for puts have gone, you know, they've been selling a lot of it. This is negative 24, 25 million puts in this situation. But calls is barely even anything. So they're selling more puts right now. It is leaning more bullish, at least is what WaveX is telling us for the trades of today. Let's really quickly see. I know there's a few 0 days to expiration. Let's take a peek over at this. But yeah, I mean, with Lululemon, I would like to see it go down. That confirms my thesis. But at the end of the day, again, it could go either direction. I'll let that load. Sometimes it takes a moment for that. Yeah, Broadcom. If we see a decent beat, we definitely see new all-time highs for this. But like again, like I was saying, 320 is what you would aim for. It's never even been that high before. So if I look up here for the highs have only been 318. So you'd have to hit new all-time highs if you're getting those calls for 320 or above. It's basically got these two levels that it's gonna go above or below these two levels after earnings. Oop. So either it's gonna be above 310 and approach that 317, 318 level, or it's very likely gonna come back down toward like 290 and then retest 280. We'll see if the markets like whatever it is that they end up reporting. I don't know why it's not showing up on the 0 days. Maybe there's not enough 0 days for Lululemon. I'll talk to Chef and see what's going on with that. A couple interesting things that came in. We got PEP that just came in. Ooh, I kind of like that. I'm gonna screenshot that for you guys. So all that's just for today. Let's peek over at PEP. Is this Pep Boys? No, Pepsi. There we go. They do have a ex-dividend date tomorrow. Oh, hold on real quick. Are those? Okay, so that could be it. They are maybe potentially trying to get into that position before. Right. What I've noticed as well is you'll see a lot of these in the money situations right before that ex-dividend date. So there could be additional buying for it, but they're very possibly, very likely tomorrow after the ex-dividend date, you might see a little bit of a sell-off. What else? Let's check out our flow scanner for today. So flow scanner equals just today. Let's see what the flow says. Still slightly bearish, but not as bearish as it's been. We see Pepsi right there. Google's still getting good flow. Google's making new all-time highs right now. SOC 9 mil to 0 mil. That's, I think we saw some of that yesterday too. Broadcom slightly bullish on this end. KRE bearish. I also like to do this too. PEP, SOC, Upstart, Light, DHI, IBM. I would say here SOC and PEP definitely show a little bit more. Let's double check on SOC. Okay, so I sold quite a few puts. Pocketed about 4.4 mil on that one. Because it's fairly unlikely this is going to drop all the way down to 12.5. But up to 35? Wow. Let's look, SOC. We've got this lower end that it's been bouncing off of, so I could see that play. Yeah, energy, minerals, integrated oil. EPS is negative. Earnings is already reported. Net income is negative. Offshore oil and gas field operations. Offshore in California. Headquartered in Houston. So SOC might be something to take a peek over at. I know as well, I think through the last few days. Yeah, we saw 3 mil being purchased for this, so I'll share this with y'all. Let me see if there's anything else on earnings. Oh yeah, DocuSign. Let's pull that one up. I don't think there was any sort of flow for DocuSign. Oh, we have some puts for December. At least that's today. So let's check DocuSign real quick. I'll get to your guys' requests in a moment. Okay, so I would probably lean a little bearish on this name right now. It does kind of have a flag, large bull flag pattern overall. I'm going to do this here. The thing that I don't love is if you take a look at my, so this is an indicator that Chef helped me put together. Sorry about that. Bella. My backyard used to be a golf course, and then they sold the golf course and built a bunch of condos back there, and so my dog goes nuts every time there's people back there now. So what I'm marking off over here real quick is anytime that we see my indicator go up close to the green. So this one's technically a little low, but once it's up in the green, it's technically an overbought situation. In an overbought situation, you tend to see some selling off. This is the daily, keep in mind. So we're kind of in that range. It doesn't mean that we can't go up further, but the indicator in the technical analysis is kind of showing that probability to the downside is a little bit more likely. Their past earnings was positive, and we saw a huge sell-off on it. PE ratio is fairly low. Net margin is all right. Technicals say buy. So DocuSign, but again, it's right. Cloud-based electronic signatures. I don't know. I'm sure some of you guys probably use it. Let me know if you do. DocuSign, I would just say this put seems kind of, it's one of the only things that's come in recently that might be worth taking a look at. Now, each one is about $4.95 each. We do have a little bit more bearish than bullish right now. Price is moving up higher today. So, I mean, if you're willing to spend that, what I would definitely say is look for something with a little better. So not tomorrow. I would say if you want higher risk is off, obviously the 12th. Otherwise, I personally like to look at probably the 19th. On the bullish side, your open interest, probably the $80 calls, $300 right there. On the bearish side of it, $70, $2.30 is probably what I look at. If you look at next week's, yeah, OI and open interest is a lot lower there. We do have a little bit here too, but again, these one, it really has to move. 253% IV is the rough part. 252 right there. So $70 puts or probably $80 calls. Your choice on expiration of how much you're willing to spend. But keep in mind, on any earnings like that, I would size for zero, meaning that if it doesn't go your way, you expect that you're going to sell it at a full loss. So you should never be full porting anything either. So RGTI, we see some more calls coming in today. If I filter for the buys, we got quite a few 0 days. Yeah, there definitely could be some more upside to be had on this. It's just in this upward channel right now. So you think it's going to bounce off the bottom of that? Yeah, quantum computing is kind of that next hot thing. But it's another one where, you know, one of the theories behind market cycles is that money goes into the next new technology pretty early, and then it kind of pushes it around. So this could still be early cycles of what we're looking at here. Definitely already see it push up. We saw a huge squeeze up over here. Kind of already saw the dead cat bounce. So yeah, I would say, especially with what STAX has to say right now, I don't love how these are all 0 days to expiration, but that does show a bit of positive sentiment for it. So yeah, if you're willing to do that. Otherwise, at least buy for the 19th is kind of what I would say. Some of these are down a little bit. Look for the higher OI. ASTS. Got some short-term stuff coming up here. They just bought this for tomorrow. Would not be surprised to see some sort of news come out for tomorrow. It does have, what's ugly about this is that we do have this ugly looking head and shoulders that just formed. And if I use American Eagle, I drew this out for you guys yesterday. American Eagle's got this head and shoulders pattern. You measure from the head to the neckline, and you drop that from the neckline up. So if you see, it already hit its target and higher as well. Technically, American Eagle, if you kept holding on to it, you're probably looking at more like 30K right now, bro. Nah, be happy with your 25. Be happy with your 25. There is no guarantee. There's oftentimes I've seen this where it just sells off the moment you open. So protect those profits. I mean, that 400% banger off of one day, like, you only get those so often. So again, great position to get into. Make sure you go on social media and tag me and tell everybody about how we hit that. I was too busy doing everything on stream. I have a tough time when I'm streaming to pull up my phone and do additional trades on my side. So I'm happy you guys caught it. There's somebody that said that they got into the position not even knowing that they had earnings. And I think they banked like 2 or 3K off of it. So good job to you guys that were able to get into them. Yeah, another thing with it is they were $17 calls for next week. So you technically have 2 weeks before that. So you could have maybe left some runners, but in the situation where you're looking at thousands and, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, you can't even be mad about it at this point. Yeah, it kept going, but you took the position and you took your profits right when with the information that you had at the moment, you made the best decision for you and your portfolio, right? But yeah, back to ASTS. It's got this look to it that this definitely could be a possibility, even though I will say that right now we are seeing some more bullishness, at least at the short term. We might see a little pop off of that neckline. So I think that's what they're trying to play, is that this could still go and pop up a little bit before retesting that line. I think their number, yeah, dude, look at that net margin, dude. Net margin negative 8,598%. Negative 6,000. Negative 15,000. Oh my God. That is disgusting. Like, imagine you were reporting that to your boss. Okay, yeah, this month we made a negative 8,000%. We lost that much money. You would not have a job anymore, guys. And that's the thing about the market sometimes, is it doesn't have to make sense. If people think it has value for the long run, they'll still, you know, pile money into it, which is ridiculous. We might see a push for Intel coming soon. Might see some more news with it. At least this is what that's saying to me right here. What else? Trying to get. We already looked at SOC, SMR. It's all shorter term. It's dropped quite a bit. Dropped $5 already in a day. Yeah, big drop today. No real news. Negative 200%. All right. So what I would say about this is it's not exactly appealing to me. Yes, we see some unusual big money. Yeah, we see some big money things, but you know, the flow isn't exactly really pointing out a direction that's clear to me. Yeah, I could go with the buys a little bit, but there is some activity in it recently, but it's not enough to make me say I want to jump on it at this point. Charts also don't have anything in particular that says get in. There is volume starting to show up. We're not exactly on one end or the other of it saying that it should push in a direction. So I would sit this one out right now. About 7 minutes till close, so I'm gonna see what else, and then maybe I'll get into some of those Lululemon puts just to play my thesis out. Path, let's see what STAX has to say. I would lean bullish on it if it's able to push up past those lower bounds. 1083. Yeah, Path, I would say at this point you gotta play off the lower end of it. There is still a little bit more of a drop for it to come. Earnings looks positive so far. We do have earnings at close right now. Path could be a bigger hitter. If you want to earnings gamble here, these are super cheap. $13, $9.19. They're super cheap. They got in yesterday to it. So they need to show that they are making some money. That's basically it. Path could be another, yeah. I mean, just these 4 from this last week, so yesterday and the day before. Fairly cheap of a options play. So, you know, if you have a smaller account, buy 5 of these, put in $100, right? Or like Soba did with the American Eagle, put in 5K. No, just kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna share this with the group. IoT. Oh, here we go. Lululemon. 100, put in, there's a mil being spent here for 205 for tomorrow. They're spending $13 per share per contract, so that's $1,300 right there. 800 of those contracts. So this does make me think it's probably, there's a good possibility this is headed up, but not so significantly like people are expecting. Because number one, they're buying in the money. So that kind of gives them a little bit of security with that position. I'm talking about Lululemon. You should be able to see my screen. Everybody else sees my screen, right? Earnings play. Earnings play. The last one I just I posted in my channel right now was Path. Path looks like, I mean, it's a cheap earnings gamble, kind of like American Eagle. Obviously, it's near low, all-time lows, but we see some call flow coming in for it. I just pulled up Lululemon here. Those calls make me think that maybe I'll stay out of it. These puts are the ones that everybody was considering from earlier, but we do have about $2 million of calls that just came in over the course of the last few hours, and the 0 days to expiration is kind of what, you know, those are aggressive. 0 days to expiration out of the money, $700 per contract right here. So expires tomorrow. This needs to hit 215, and technically needs to hit like 220 something for this one to be a confident winner. This guy needs it to be above like 218, but again, if at open they decide to get out of this position, it just needs to hold 205. Yeah, Path, I would just say the risk to reward for Path would be better. It'd be more like what you did with American Eagle. But Lululemon, I like the chart of Lululemon in terms of, you know, what I've charted with the Wyckoff situation. But like I said, with Path right here, you can see Path. It's at the lows. And there's a good possibility with these, especially, let's see, right here. You know, volume is weak down here, but again, it's a $10 stock. Could it go further down? Yeah, it definitely could if they have bad earnings. It looks like they've been pretty consistent with beating earnings at this point. The only issue with it is the fact that their basic EPS tends to be fairly negative at this point. They have a negative net margin, so that those could be factors that push it down. But at the end of the day, your upside reward is much greater than the downside risk, right? Yeah. So if you're gonna go for Path, you know, if you've got $1,000 portfolio, go buy 5 contracts at 20 bucks each. You spend $100. That's 10% of your portfolio there. But at the end of the day, this could come back. You could make another, you know, $200-300 bucks off of it if it moves in the right direction. The nice thing about those Path ones is also you have a little bit of time. 919 is nice to see. The 9.5 are the super high risk ones right now. So I would definitely say Path probably a little bit more on the bullish side of this, and you know, that's not a terrible position to take. If you want a little bit, you know, this $11 and 11.50, those strikes aren't bad either. Looks like we just closed, so might not have those ability, might not exactly have the chance to get in now. But we'll see how those react. Let's pull up our charts. I'll keep Path on one of them since it looks like you guys are playing that. It's already jumped up to 11. Okay, let's go. I think Lululemon's the first one. Lululemon moving up just a little bit. I don't think it's reported just yet. AVGO. All right, let's see. Well, Path is moving the way you want it to so far. It's already up to 11. Man. No, after hours is it closes at 1 over here, West Coast, so those are probably already done with. Yeah, options. The only options that you can get into after 1 are for the 15 minutes after close. You have the ability to get into some of the ETFs, so like SPY, QQQ, IWM. You have an opportunity to get into those. Man, I got 20 people in here watching. Everybody say hi. Here, you guys can say hi. Oh, turn on your guys' mics if you want. You can chat and say hi in the chat if you want me. I can enable your mic if you want to. Some people got into Path right here. We're watching Broadcom. We're gonna watch Lululemon, see what happens with it. I'll just do this real quick with Lulu. Set an alert to see if it goes up or down, because we're gonna keep our eye on Broadcom here. Usually we got about 15 minutes till these actually report. So, I mean, you guys can watch on Twitter, see if anything shows up. Path is moving nicely so far, so we'll see what happens with it. I did not end up getting into any positions with it. So, shouting these out for you guys, though. I'm rooting for you. Rooting for you. See some profits. Yeah, I mean, you guys might have noticed just this last, I'd say the last 2 months, we started to do a lot of live streams, started to share a lot more stuff. We obviously had our acquisition for TraderLink just happen about, the beginning of last month. 2 weeks ago, a week ago, we realized that we can do these live streams in our Discord. So what I'm doing here is I'm recording it for YouTube where I can post it onto YouTube later. But the people that are members in our Discord, I also shared this to TraderLink as well. So if you're in TraderLink and you're here because of it, please let me know. I want to make sure that that link actually worked for you guys to join today. Let me double check. I know. But again, we're doing live streams in our Discord. That way, we're trying to provide a little more value for you guys that are in the Discord. Share with you guys the things that we're doing. On Wednesdays, we're still going to be doing our live streams on YouTube for people directly. But at least if you are, if you're one of our paying members or lifetime members of our Discord, you guys will get these private sessions. I've also noticed as well, it's more interactive and it's a little bit easier to share on Discord, and it's also it's real time. Ooh, Lululemon, is that the drop? Ah. Let's get it, guys. My lines of resistance. Let's see if we hit that 180 and if we hit down toward 160. If you guys are in that, what, 160 was the one you guys got into? Let me double check. 165. But you also have an extra week on it, which is a good thing. There we go. All right, DocuSign. Lululemon now down 10%. AVGO is flat so far. They haven't reported yet. Path still hasn't reported yet. Yeah, I'm making these call outs for you guys. I love it. Making some money. Let's just peek at it. If Lululemon holds these levels, let's just say so you got next week 165. Let's say those you got into with those 165s. Your dollar something contract should be looking at over $5 tomorrow at this level. So if it holds 180, if it goes lower, obviously you'll see more. I love it. Nine, 5, 180 puts. I mean, the hard part about that is that if you're opening below 180 tomorrow, you'll definitely see some decent profits. The issue with that is what your entry price is kind of adds into where you need it to hit by close tomorrow. What you don't want to see tomorrow is for this to jump back up real quickly, and for it to come down slowly over the day. There's a possibility your contract might stay flat, and there is a possibility where it might just fluctuate it. There's times where that kind of happens where you're right at the money, and it doesn't quite put you in the money and goes back against you. There are times where those contracts might be a little tough to get out of. So at this point you watch the chart, see what happens, but realistically you're waiting for tomorrow to see what you can do. So that's the thing with those 0 days to expiration. Yeah, you got the right direction, but the issue is that the market still needs to price those accordingly. Because what does that contract mean? That contract means that you're aiming for under 180 by the end of tomorrow. And so if it goes to like 181 or 180 and 1 cent, technically those puts are considered worthless. Okay, so if it fluctuates above 180 all of tomorrow, then that's where those contracts might have trouble finding good value for. But if you drop below, and I'll tell you this, Lululemon's been really moving down quite a bit, so I think we could continue to see a little bit further down as earnings is digested here. Did they miss EPS? No, that's next quarter. Lululemon slashes annual sales profit forecast, so that's why they're down 12%. DocuSign's up pretty well. Broadcom still has not reported. Path is just fluctuating right now. Path has not reported just yet too. Oh. Called it for you. Path is up 8%. Let's see it, chat. Path is up. Looks like they're reported. Those are positives. See a solid candle close and then keep it up there. But yeah, it's up. It's up 7, 8%. Just fighting up there. Keep going. I want to see it up more. So the good thing about those ones that we grabbed, guys, is the fact that we have 2 weeks for that. So if we had tomorrow, right? We had 9/5. So tomorrow, 0 days to expiration, basically. You want it to hit 13. You want it to hit those numbers and higher. But for this, because you have 2 weeks of extra time, those contracts are more likely going, first off, you're more likely to have those profits at open. But those contracts have a little bit more time to kind of settle. So ultimately, you do not need it to hit your strike so quickly. As long as it continues to move up and it doesn't drop below where you entered yesterday, there's a good chance that these are going to be in decent and solid profits. So $11.50 was the other number we were looking at too, and it looks like those ones, it's kind of fluctuating, so we'll see what happens here. Now, Lululemon, see, those 180 ones are going to be solid now. I want to see it continue to push down. Let's see, path, we got into what, 17? No, what is it? What did I call out? 13, sorry, not 17, that's too far. 13. Coming down. What happened? Let's see. Quarter revenue. Waiting for this to update fully. They updated. Everything was up on their forecasts. Let's see. What was digested poorly? Man. That first move was a heartbreaker. Let's see real quick. Give it a little time. There's no, like, this could come back and stay flat too. The numbers they reported were positive, so we have that going for us right now. See how that return turns out. Let's pull up Broadcom. Still haven't seen anything for Broadcom. They've got about 2 minutes till they finally report. Some of you guys took DocuSign with Ducky. That's up 8% right now. Now we're seeing a recovery for Path. As long as it's holding $11 and stays above that, that's what you want to see. Lululemon. Let me just move this down. If it goes further down, we'll see it. Oh, the earnings fake outs. Honestly thought Path was headed straight up from there. There are some times where that first move is the wrong move, but sometimes it happens right before earnings. Usually the first move after they've reported, those generally do hold, so we'll see what happens. We still got time. You won't know until tomorrow. That's the hard part about this. You gotta wait till 6:30 a.m. tomorrow if you're on the West Coast. Ooh, Broadcom. Oof, down to 300. It's only down 2% so far. Could this be the fake out before a breakout? Or is this going to be the right move? Looks like they beat on revenue. Oh, look at that. Look at that wick. It's not making a real decision just yet, but that lower wick could be. There we go. That one did it too. Went down, then back up. Still waiting for path. Path is back to where we closed at right now, guys. So I mean, if big money with that, I think this still could, I really do think it still could come back up. So got to give it some time. Broadcom's not really making a decision either. That path position should technically be in profits if you got in. Could be up to like 40 cents each, even at this level. Man, Broadcom does not know what it's doing right now. Lululemon back at 180, so down 12%, 12.5%. DocuSign, it's got to hold that first little level. It could come back down toward like 81 or so, but up 8, almost 8%. Look, Broadcom. Man, it went both directions. Went down, then up, and now back down. They're really playing with you guys right now. Path, I think Path looks good. Path could see higher by tomorrow. But yeah, that drop was, I'm sure that drop made some people's hearts skip a beat for a moment. Lululemon, I think Lululemon's going down lower. It's got that H shape to it. It's got to hold 177. If it does not hold 177, it's coming back down to like 175. Man, my Lululemon chart played out. That was a bear flag. Broadcom back to even. Yeah, Broadcom does not know what it's trying to do today. And there, remember, up, down, and flat. There's 3 things that can happen. And the one that generally makes the market maker the most money is when it stays flat. So I'm going to take the premiums from both sides. IV crush everybody. Just leave it how it opened, or how it closed. A reminder, you guys, when you guys sell and make some profits off of our callouts, make sure you go post them in Club Profits for us. We always want to see how you guys are doing with it, especially off of some of these live streams. I'm not always going to be able to screenshot and share it in the chat. I might see if I can get somebody to relay that information for you guys. That way I can focus here. Path, I'll say Path, you're probably looking at minimum, if you're in those that I called out, the $13 calls for the 19th, currently with where we're at, you could probably see about 50 to 60% return off of them, right? So if you put in $100, probably get $50 out of it. You have time too, so it's nothing where you have to like rush to get out. With this earnings, it is a double beat. I would probably say, especially with where path was, we're gonna see a bit higher over time. So you might not need to rush to get out of them at this point. So what you can do is, if you have Robinhood, go take a look at your contract, and then you can hit simulate returns. And basically what it's doing is it's calculating through the IV and the delta and gamma that are calculated there to give you an estimate of where price could be if those prices hold by tomorrow. I will give you a word of caution though. There are times where it overestimates, there's times where it underestimates. You still have to let the market make a decision when it opens. So let that, let that give you an idea of where things could be. But yeah, DOCU, yeah, I said it needed to hold that. It could come back down. I'm hoping it stays up because you guys are in calls. They beat estimates. AI offerings with bigger customers. So bullish overall. Yeah, my prediction for that one was a little bit more on the bearish side, at least with what my indicators were saying. But I know Ducky shot it out, it's up 6%, so, or is that just today? Let me check. Yeah. This is the kind of thing where you might want to get out right at open for DocuSign. I do think profits will be taken right at open, so be careful with that. Especially with the way that it's moving right now. Pop up, hit my resistance, that upper level. That line I drew was from before this, right? So went up toward that resistance level and now it's coming back down. Lululemon. Broadcom really does not know what it wants to do. It's flat. Yeah, path, I would definitely say path, let it, in the morning, I would probably say let it ride out a little bit in the morning, especially if, I mean, again, if it was one of those plays where, again, you're not risking too much, you didn't even really put in a full position with it, you could probably let it sit for a little bit, because the idea here is that path had good numbers with their release, and we could probably see it continue to push up in time. DocuSign, I will say, DocuSign looks like it went right toward its resistance. So I had this drawn already. This line up here, it already popped and hit that line, and it's already coming straight back down right now. So DocuSign has a little bit, good earnings numbers, but still playing out according to what the chart has to say. And the chart overall is putting it in more of oversold territory right now. So, or at least my slow stochastic had it saying that we're in an area where we could probably see it come back down from. Lululemon, I think it still wants to go further down. I could see it maybe getting bought up a little bit and then maybe headed back down further. So that's the good thing. If you have the 912s for next week, you might have a little bit of wiggle room with it. Yeah, it looks like it wants lower. It's attacking that lower bound pretty hard. Path, I would say, I mean, if you would be happy with your profits at about 40-50%, you probably could sell them. If you got in at 20, you very possibly could get out at 30 or 35 tomorrow. So anywhere from 50 to 75% return off of that. I wouldn't be mad about that. The thing with path is that it was one of those positions where You very possibly could see it over the course of the probably next week. If these numbers really digest well, you could see that continue to go up higher. My suggestion to you is if it looks like it's good enough if it's good enough to take a screenshot, you probably want to take some profits. If you're one of those people that like to FOMO about stuff and you can't stand to see this continue further down and for you to lose out on more of those profits, take some of your profits and then leave some runners. Trim at least and take some of it, because there's no guarantee it's going to hold this level and not bounce back. Okay? But with LULU, again, look at your consider it this. Ignore what's happening right now. Let's just say you got into this position today or yesterday, and what was your target, right? If you put in $1,000, were you planning to make 500 off of that? And where would you have gotten now? If it dropped and went down $500, would you have gotten out? Or would you have held on hoping it comes back 100%? So detach yourself, and this is one of the things about learning to be a better trader when it comes down to the psychology of it. You have to remember if fear and greed are going to come in and attack you at some point. So if it dropped $500 from your 1,000, so drop 50%, are you going to get fearful and get out? And if it went up 50%, are you going to get greedy and say, oh no, there's going to be more, and hold on longer than you need to? So yeah, if you thought that you were going to take that $1,000 and then you were basically gambling, you're basically betting it on red or black. And right now you're looking at it as, oh well, I just got a 50% return on it. Well, take what you can, take it and move on. One of the hard parts about this, about trading is you can easily look back and look at, oh well, I got out at 50%, it's at 100% now, I could have made more. But that's just you playing into the FOMO and also the greed side of the markets. The goal here is to be green, stay green, and make sure that you don't lose your premium. So again, I'm happy that you guys made money off of it, or you guys are looking at potential profits. Please don't let that greed hit and eventually allow it to go back to zero, because you still have to play against the time frame. If you took those puts for the 160 for next week, you have another week for this to drop another $15. So can it happen? Yeah. Could it accelerate? Yeah, it could. You could look at a potential 200 to 300% return, but you can't let that, that the whole it's better to have was it better to have one in the hand than two in the bush, right? You are going to make the best decision based upon what's going on right now, based upon you cannot predict the future. If you could predict the future, I promise you, we would use that to our advantage and we would all become millionaires overnight. Okay? We would find what was going to move the most tomorrow and we would all take the right side on it so that we could multiply our money. That's how it would work. You're basing it upon probabilities. Okay? So two things you can use to help gain a better edge. Number one, watch what STAX does. If we see a bunch of Lululemon calls come in at open, go and get out. If you see more puts, okay, maybe you want to hold on to a little bit, but consider what those puts are aiming for. Are they 0 days to expiration? Are they aiming for next week or the week after? Are they aiming for 2027? Take the context into consideration. Okay? No, everything's working for me on my end. I see my, oh, why is it not? Should be working. I don't know why it's not casting. Give me 1 sec. Is that working better? Okay. I think something happened with my headphones. Is it working? Okay, there we go. I just changed my mic. But like I said, you make the best decision based upon what's going on at the moment. All right, so don't allow greed and fear to overtake you. Make sure that you, like, I would sit down right now, ignore the fact that Lululemon's dropped, and yeah, you're in profits. You have no idea what profits you're gonna have. Okay, you can use Robinhood to estimate, but that's never going to be perfect. What you want to do next is sit down and look at it. Okay, I put in $1,000 into this position. What type of percentage return am I going to be happy with? What type of loss would I be pissed off that I didn't get out in the right time? Okay, and understand too is you will not time the top. So yes, you know, that's the thing about options trading especially, is it's great when you are able to, but that's like less than 1% of your trades where you time the top perfectly. So if I were you, I would look to get out at open, maybe leave a runner or two if you really need to, and if you get that FOMO, look at what STAX has to say, because if STAX says it's still continued further down and there's puts being taken, no, that's your choice of whether or not you want to hold on to that. But one of the things I've noticed, especially with like DOCU and Chemo, is they'll take their profits and stop looking back. They might show you, oh yeah, if I held on, it would have done this. But you can't let that affect your emotions. You know, essentially, you don't want to go on tilt. You know, if you play poker, tilt's a real thing. You lose a bad hand, you start betting bigger than you need to, you start going on tilt, you lose more than you should have. So let your technical analysis, let your charts, let your stacks give you a better idea of what to do and what to expect. But outline a plan. Like, I understand a lot of you guys are here, you're here to follow what the other traders are doing, but you have to remember, so for example, if Chemo makes 20% on a position, that could be 20K for a $100,000 position. But if you're putting in $100, that's $20, right? So you can't compare directly to other people in that way. And another thing is you have to do what's best for your portfolio and your risk management strategy. So I still think Lululemon could be headed down further, but if I were you and I'm looking at some decent profits of 50-60% on that position, I would probably get myself out and maybe leave a runner or two for the long run. Let me take a peek over here. So those Lululemon, that Lululemon position, for every $180 that you put in, you could be looking at about $500 right now, 550 maybe, for where we're at. But keep in mind, if you hold it onto it for until next week and it stays at this range, it's going to start to sap away at that price. And you also want to remember, IV crush is a real thing. So as people start to leave, right, next week Lululemon's not going to be the focus anymore. Next week people aren't going to be trading Lululemon like they did this week. So the price fluctuations and the amount of premium you can get for your contracts starts to go down because there's fewer people looking to trade it. Broadcom did nothing, guys. Broadcom stayed flat. It's a 0.2% move for Broadcom right now. DocuSign's starting to show a little bit of recovery, or headed back up, but it did drop where basically your return would have only looked at about 3 to 4%. At the highs for DocuSign here, it went up as much as 12.5. So it's the thing about earnings. You won't know till tomorrow when market opens. So all right, guys, is there anything else that I need to look over? Otherwise, I'd say I doubt we'll do a stream tomorrow. It's Friday. Yeah, there's no earnings tomorrow anyway. Get ready for the next week. I will be on this live stream My AAL position is the same one that I've had. Let me see real quick. I think they're down right now. American Airlines, they're down 4%, $14 calls for November. We still have some time, which is a good thing. But yeah, they were up like 30%. They dropped like 25% today. Which was crazy because the news is technically a positive thing, but right now it's a rumor. But I still think, I mean, here, let me pull this up too. American Airlines, it hasn't been getting too much flow. We do see these puts that were taken out, but they're only 53K on that. So there are some more calls being bought for that same strike for next week. $250,000 right there. And these puts being sold at the $13 strike. So I think we're still headed up. We just got to be patient with this one. Because like if you look at the spot prices, it really hasn't moved from this 13 something, 1340 something. It dropped a little bit, dropped down today. But we'll see what tomorrow and we'll see what next week holds. I don't think I'm getting out of this until we see a bigger move up. We could come back down further, but I think it should start bouncing higher. All right. Anything else, you guys? Thanks for joining me, as always. We'll be back in our live stream probably on Monday. I've been trying to jump in for probably around the last hour before market close, just to see what the flow looks like, just to see if we get any plays for you. This is going to be uploaded to YouTube, but it's really just my screen being shared. My face isn't even shared on it at this point. All right, have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll see you guys in the Discord tomorrow. And happy trading. Let me know what profits you guys make. Make sure you guys post that in our Club Profits channel tomorrow so we can all bask in that glory. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Right as I end, Lulu goes a little lower. There we go. Lululemon headed down further. All right.